Willin' we go, eh? Hey everyone, welcome back to Jaraci Cup 7. Continuing coverage of the group stage, we move on to Groupstage B. All the games from A have been cast. And it's going to be myself versus cowofschmau. Actually, let's ping him on Discord real quick. We're casting our games. Get in here, pleb. Anyway, it's going to be a GVG here on Kosh Teeth. Fun times. That's actually going to be my pick, I think. Yep, I did pick Kosh Teeth here. If we're playing GVG, I really like this map. Very close quarters, very, like, I don't know, very brutal map in some sense, I guess I'm trying to say. I really enjoy it. And cowofschmau really likes the GVG as well. But it's a very sweaty matchup. Do you know what I mean? I really love how micro intensive it can all become, and like how much you're trying to outplay the other guy with like skimmer micro and all these things. And speaking of skimmer micro, cowofschmau is gonna have the advantage as I'm on 99 CUs. That's gotta feel bad. But I'm just now building my first skim. His is actually out, so he's got the advantage for now. And indeed, I'm going to want to back away here. You can see I was a little bit slow on that, so my skim is going to spawn into hostile territory, but I do have the tech advantage on him. And he should be looking to go up to rails if he's not going to be teching into his soul chips, but I think he started on CUs. Yeah, see, he doesn't have many RUs at all. Tense micro over here. I'm trying to keep this guy alive, but he is going to catch that one. But this guy should be safe as he can run back to the carrier, which probably should be powering up the range. But that's alright. Mistakes happen, I guess. I was talking about how sweaty of a matchup it is and how you're like trying to outplay the other guy, and here I am like not even powering my carrier. That's okay though, soul chip fab is done for me, so I'm probably going to be okay. And just the fact that the carry could have power and range means he probably won't push on it, so... I mean, certainly he won't get anything done on the main base, is what I'm trying to say. He may, however, be able to deny long distance mining, right? But if he doesn't have tech, eventually he'll get pushed out. So a soul chip tech is going to be the choice for him. But it's quite a bit later than mine, so I'm going to try to push him out across the field here with my PC as like a frontline unit that's going to spawn the soul chip in the field. And we're trying to get RUs for armor as well. That's obviously something you want to have anytime you're going to fight against these sand skimmers. Looks like we have a little bit of a missaturation over here. He's got 7 salvagers. And yeah, we did cast you versus Houston. That was one of the first ones, actually. I'm pretty sure. If someone can look through the VODs actually and figure out whether or not we did, that'd be good. Because I'm pretty sure we did, but I guess I'm actually not certain. Armor 1 teching now. This PC actually taking quite a lot of damage, but I don't really think it's in danger. We did cast that? Okay, good. And he's gonna go down on this assault chip here. Obviously, he can get it. I didn't have the armor tech done yet, so that's kind of my bad, but he trades a little bit inefficiently for it anyway. Yeah, I think we did. No, we didn't, because that was actually like the last one that I played. So, we'll get to that one in the end. Power 1 coming up from cowofschmau, so he senses that he's going to be under the gun here in just a moment. Soul chip tech is done for him though, so he obviously has got the units to defend if he needs them. Or at least he will in a moment. Definitely wants to be building those. cowofschmau tells me he's actually in the middle of a move right now, so he can't unfortunately come and watch the games. A pity. But again, this soldier here has actually been idle this whole time, so he just now moves it. It's a little bit unfortunate for him. You can see I'm still on fleet cap 45 here actually, so we're pretty delayed moving up to the moving up to the mid game here, but I actually don't want to get 45 if I can help it. I want to go straight to ref mode. And cowofschmau feeling pressured like he needs to make a move here. He's going to try to fight my assault chips, but turns out taking just kind of a bad trade there. He doesn't get them. He gets one skimmer. I think he lost like 3 there, so if I can just click on ref mode now, which I do have the skills to do, that's going to be good for me. And I'm trying to push in here, see if I can get damage on these salvagers too, but this might be a bit of a throw. If this guy gets another missile off, that guy might die. Yeah, so I don't know. That was probably a mistake of mine. I lose a lot of pressure for like going for the kills here. Oh, and look, these guys are vulnerable too, but I don't go for them. So I end up just kind of losing 2 assault chips for nothing, whereas if those guys stayed there, you can imagine he is so locked down he can't move at all. So that's a bit of a mistake for me, but hey, it happens. And cowofschmau finally building armored units of his own here. Doesn't have the tech yet, though. And he's gonna tech straight into Siege Cruiser Fab. Wow. Well, that's a little bit interesting. You say that quite often, yeah. It's almost like I can't learn from my mistakes. But no, that would never happen. Ref mode done for me now, so obviously we're gonna see an instant tech probably to 45 here. Well, actually, I have a little bit of fleet cap to spare because I may have lost a couple of units there. So actually, we're gonna go straight to siege as well. I like it. No, I canceled it. It looks like I probably want to get this PC, yeah, before I go for siege. Otherwise, you know what happens, right? Like, you get siege tech done, and then it's like, well, that's great, but I have to kind of, you know, build another PC off my carrier here. So, like, until I do that, I'm gonna have a really weak ground army, actually, even with siege cruisers in the hood. And I guess that's kind of what cowofschmau is feeling, too, because, like, he's got the tech, but he can't really build it. So that's a little bit unfortunate for him. Yeah, me neither. The reason really is just he is floating a bit, but he doesn't have much eco because he doesn't have ref mode, and he's only got one PC, so he can't build very fast either. But yeah, I think this PC is idle quite a bit as well. Yeah, no ref mode for him. He also doesn't have the armor ups too, though, right? And so it's and he has to worry about the threat of air too. This is very valid. Like, this is a good move from him, but he should have been getting this before siege because he just can't build the siege cruisers, so it just kind of feels like a bit of a waste of money. You know, March, you might be right, because, like, that is a lot of money. If you're not going to get ref mode, like, do you fill out the base? One thing that we've been doing when we, like, do a lot of rail rushes, one thing that I've been kind of paying attention to is, like, I shouldn't be making RU miners if I have CU ones, or, like, just have two guys, basically. Oh, and look at this, we're actually going to bring a production cruiser to the front line. That's kind of fun. But yeah, like, I don't want to, you know, invest that much into just long-distance mining, so... Yes, it does. Like, everyone is orange. Everyone's always orange. Like, that's the color that it picks. I don't know why. I'm gonna start Siege Cruiser Fab for real this time now. But I am pushing on his base. And again, where are the units? Like, I feel like they're just not here. Armor 1 finally teching for him, but I've got Armor 3 on the way. And we obviously just have a lot more soul chips on the field here in general. He can win this, actually, if he commits the skims in. Otherwise, he won't win this fight. So he wants to actually bring the skims in there. But he's not going to do it. And that'll give this fight to me. This is an important one because it's defending his, like, his second base. Oof. Work really do be like that, eh? But see, now it's a bit late for the skims to come in because they can't commit onto this without trading poorly. Not to mention, I have Armor 3 now, so, like, this assault ship really just does not want to die. Again, no ups for these skimmers, so it's not like this thing's gonna go down fast. Oh wow, now he's purple. Assault ships are pressuring the carrier as well. We're checking out the third base, just trying to make sure, because, like, I was seeing he didn't have any units. I was like, he must have just been going too greedy on the macro, right? But we get over here, no third base. So I remember being a bit confused when I saw this, but that's fine. We just have unlimited map pressure here. Siege Cruiser is on the way too. But we probably won't need it. That'll be like the unit that finishes the game, if you know what I'm saying. And now we really have kind of overwhelming force. He still only has Armor 1, so we have a big upgrade advantage. And I agree the investment on the LDNs doesn't pay off for a bit, but his real problem, I think, is that he was floating, right? I think he was just floating for too long, and so, like, he should have had more units than he did, but it just kind of didn't work out for him. And by the way, because I have the option, you know if this game goes on long enough, I'm going to start mining off of his third base, just because I have to do it. If you have the option to mine off your opponent's third base and you don't do it, I'm really disappointed. You know what I mean? I'm going to start pressuring the main base too. Obviously, if this carrier pushes this way, these guys just back away and we can clean it out with the other assault ships there. But you can see we trade Giga efficiently here. This guy could actually be picked off. That's a bit sloppy of me to send him in, but... yeah, this ain't going nowhere good. Obviously, this is what I like to call the meat grinder scenario. where, you know, the longer the fight goes on, the worse it's going to get, and all of your units all of a sudden look like they're spawning into a meat grinder. Not to mention, the eco is getting wiped too, so we're going to run out of units in a moment as well. And, range upgrade finishing on the siege cruiser. That's got to be the end of the game, right? Indeed it is. cowofschmau chooses to surrender right there. And there's a bit of discussion of, like, long-distance mining going on, so, like, if you long-distance mine, I think it's good to get CUs here. If you have ref mode teching, you might as well fill out the base, because you're going to be having them, you know, actually mining as well. But, converting CUs to areas, well, I'm not sure, because if you make 2 salvagers, it's a 300 CU investment. That means that they need to make 6 trips before they pay off. And over the course of, like, a railgun rush or something, they will pay off, and a lot more than that within the time that you're rail rushing. Not to mention, obviously, if you do go for ref mode, it's a little bit faster. Oh yeah, the depth pack, I didn't think about that. You're right, so it is 8 trips. But if you do end up getting ref mode later, you already have the salvagers, so it's not like they were bad if you end up going for ref mode as well later, right? They just kind of paid for themselves a little bit faster than they would have otherwise. So, I agree, like, you need to know when you're long distance mining, because sometimes you should, sometimes you shouldn't. But for example, when we see players going for, like, LAV spam really heavy, they'll often go 4 salvagers on CUs here, 1 on RUs, and then 2 on CUs over here. And it's really good for them because it means that they can build up a lot of CUs while they're doing the LAV spam, which means that they can get a sport cruiser because they end up floating that much, right? And so that lets them kind of move on to the mid-game a little bit more smoothly. So, it's an interesting question. I think generally filling out all 4 on the long-distance mining is a bit of a mistake. Because the RUs mine slower in patch as well. You've got to realize, like, you pick up only 20 instead of 40, right? And so now you're spending, what is it, like 600 CUs? No. More than that. It's going to be like 800 or something. No, 700 with the depth pack, right? Just to get like a couple of RUs. It's not really that worth it. But when you see me do rail rushes, you'll see that I do long distance mine on CUs, and then I flipped into RUs or CUs based on what unit I'm building. If I'm building heavy rails, I try to keep 2 on RUs. If I'm building skims, I try to keep 2 on CUs. And if I'm building assault rails, I put 1 on each. So, you know, it will be spammy. Well, it might be worth it if you're planning on transitioning up into the mid game off of it. It can make that transition a little bit smoother. But like if you're if you're doing a rail rush, for example, right? I want to transition to getting like. I want to transition into railguns. That's obviously going to slow me down when I have the long-distance miners because they haven't paid off yet. But then when I want to start building the second PC, this really helps me that I have the long-distance miners getting CUs for me because I build up to that number a little bit faster. And it also depends on the map because some maps are a little bit longer, some maps are harder to defend the long-distance miners. Some maps are shorter, like on the shallows. Long-distance mining, super efficient because obviously on the shallows, you know, you can mine from both of the like close locations, right? So it all depends in that sense. The distance is set. Well, I mean, I know, like, for example, the new Torrent creator, the maps are a little bit further apart than they should be. So, but anyway, yeah, you kind of have to think about like what you want these long distance miners for, because like the idea that they're gonna make your eco stronger, it's true and it's false, right? On some maps, it's actually going to make it weaker because actually there is, you know, or in some games, sorry, in some builds, it's going to make your eco weaker because it's not helping you through a transition. All it does is just, it's an investment and it takes time to pay off, but by the time it does pay off, you've taken damage that doesn't really help you. So, you know, yes and no. I'd say, I don't know what we're doing over here. I'd say it's like, it's good and it's bad. It all just depends on the map that you're playing. Let me read my info.txt here. cowofschmau picks Galazine. I was considering doing something different, going for like Soban or whatever, but I ended up just picking Galazine for myself, and cowofschmau picks KT Alt to be the map. Looks like this one's going to be a rail rush. We had the base runner tire into skim fab, 2 on RUs, so... and hey, this will be a good explanation of long distance mining here, because as you can see, skimmer fab is still teching, so I don't lose anything for building this guy, right? So I start an LDM to go over here, and then we queue up a salvager there. And then I'm probably going to have skimmer. I'm going to have 4 skimmers before railgun tech can start. And what that means is that if I don't build another salvager, the money for skims is just going to get me fleet cap faster, so it's not worth it. So I go for a second long distance miner, and then I'll stay on 2 long distance miners for a large part of the game. So that's kind of That's kind of my thinking here. It's part of the build, right? I wouldn't just do this if I was like going for assault ship fab first, for example. If I go for long distance mining, I'm probably gonna lose. I just don't have enough tempo. So hopefully that kind of explains it a little bit. And this is gonna be 4 sand skimmers into... No, it's gonna be 5 sand skimmers into railgun fab. I guess that's a result of seeing quite a lot from my opponent here. But the micro trade goes pretty well for me at first. I do manage to catch this guy for free. And I have rail fab started now. cowofschmau still techless, so he's gonna want to be thinking about what he wants to go for pretty soon. He can go for 2 PC to try to overwhelm me. This looks like a rail rush, right? Or he can go for fast rails of his own. But taking power 1, I'm a little bit afraid of here. A whole 15% efficiency. Free salvager kill, by the way, that's gotta feel good. Let me tell you one thing, long distance mining does not pay off. Long distance mining does not pay off if salvagers get killed. In that case, yeah, you're not gonna be enjoying things. 1 on CUs, 1 on RUs, that means I'm gonna be building assault rails here, right? Rail fab finishes, and we queue it up immediately. And cowofschmau is still techless. He actually cancelled power 1 as well, so he finally is teching rail fab, but you can see that just slows him down a lot here. And I fear for the cow, but I also glory in the cow. You know what I'm saying? Salvagers cannot salvage while dead. Lazy workers. Okay, that's just rough, man. That's rude. Have some freaking compassion, my guy. Oh, boy. Well, it's an extra skim every 3 minutes after that, but think how many extra heavy rails it is. You'll notice that, like, heavy rail production is almost unimpeded if you have long-distance RU miners. That's kind of the big break point for me. Speaking of which, first heavy rail is on the queue, so we're probably going to see this guy flip to RUs in a moment. I really like how this topic came up in this game because, like, it's not really too stressful to cast it, so we have a lot of time to talk about, you know, long-distance mining and whatever. If I'm on top of things, I'll switch this guy back to RUs, but sometimes I'm too busy managing the front line. By the way, speaking of the front line, this guy's dead. And yeah, I mean, long-distance miners definitely do not win the game if they die. I guess I'll put it that way. Second PC on the way for me as well. I don't know if I even need it. You know, March 1, I didn't believe you at first, but I'm thinking you're right about this. That heavy rails just like finish the game a little bit faster. They let you trade for free. You build them if you've already won, and like if you haven't, they're not really gonna get you there. That being said, if you're in a GVG and you're doing the rail rush, having a couple heavy rails is great because obviously like you're gonna be in a really good spot against his assault rails, right? But I think units are useless if they die. Yeah, you're right about that. No, but I think you're right. I think the assault rails are just more better in this in this kind of early game fight here. And then once we've already won the game, the heavy rails just kind of solidify it. That's so interesting though, because like if you had told me this, you know, a couple months ago, I never would have believed you. But like, I don't know. It's good to have new players in the community because they can often teach us something we didn't know. That is going to be the series for me, though. So pretty comfortable 2-0. And hopefully you all learned something about long-distance mining.